What if the tiredness you've been carrying for years isn't really about age at all, but about one system in your body that quietly stopped working the way it used to? Not your muscles, not your heart, your sleep. And more specifically, the 15 minutes before you fall asleep, the part of the day almost nobody pays attention to. I want to walk you through why that window matters more than most people realize, and a simple routine you can start tonight that costs nothing and takes less time than scrolling through your phone. Here's the thing nobody tells you plainly. Sleep isn't just rest, it's when your body does its repair work. Hormones get regulated, inflammation gets cleared, memory gets sorted and stored. Your nervous system resets itself for the next day. And when that process gets interrupted night after night, even mildly, the effects don't show up as obvious sleep deprivation. They show up as something subtler, a low hum of tiredness that coffee doesn't fix, a short fuse, trouble focusing by mid-afternoon, a sense that you're getting through the day instead of living it. Most people assume this is just what happens as you get older. And there is some truth to that. Sleep architecture does shift with age. Deep sleep becomes harder to sustain. But a huge portion of what people chalk up to aging is actually something far more fixable, a nervous system that never fully downshifts before bed. Let me explain what I mean. Your body runs on two main modes. There's the sympathetic mode, alert, reactive, ready for action. This is the mode most of us live in for most of the day, especially with constant notifications, deadlines, and background stress. Then there's the parasympathetic mode, the rest and recovery state. This is the mode your body needs to be in to fall into deep, restorative sleep. The problem for a lot of people isn't that they don't get time in bed. It's that they go to bed still stuck in that alert, sympathetic mode. The body is lying down, but the nervous system hasn't gotten the memo. This matters because deep sleep, the kind where actual repair happens, only occurs once your nervous system has properly shifted into that parasympathetic state. If you're still wired when your head hits the pillow, you might fall asleep just fine. But you spend more of the night in lighter sleep stages, and you wake up not feeling like you actually rested. So the real question isn't, how do I sleep more hours? It's, how do I help my body shift out of alert mode before I even get into bed? And that's where a short, deliberate wind-down routine comes in, not a complicated one. Something you can realistically do every single night, because consistency is what actually makes this work, not any single dramatic change. Here's a simple 3-part routine, and I'll explain the reasoning behind each piece so it's not just something you're doing blindly. The first part is light. About 60 to 90 minutes before bed, dim the lights around you. This isn't a minor aesthetic choice. It has a real physiological basis. Your brain has light-sensitive cells that help regulate melatonin production, the hormone that signals to your body that it's time to sleep. Bright light, especially the blue-toned light from phones, tablets, and overhead lighting, suppresses melatonin release. Dimming the lights in the hour before bed helps your body start producing melatonin on schedule instead of hours late. If you can, swap overhead lights for a lamp, and if you're using a screen, turn on night mode or just put it away entirely. The second part is breath. This is the piece that most directly addresses that stuck sympathetic mode I mentioned earlier. Slow, extended exhales are one of the most well-documented ways to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. The mechanism is straightforward. Your exhale is directly linked to a nerve that runs from your brainstem down through your chest and abdomen, and slowing that exhale sends a calming signal along that pathway. You don't need anything elaborate. Breathe in for about 4 seconds, then breathe out slowly for 6 to 8 seconds. Do this for 2 or 3 minutes. It sounds almost too simple, but the research on slow breathing and heart rate variability is genuinely solid. This is one of the more reliable, low-effort tools available for shifting your body out of a stressed state. The third part is a brief written wind-down. This one surprises people, but it has real backing too. A lot of what keeps people wired at night isn't physical, it's mental, an unfinished to-do list, a worry that keeps circling, a conversation replaying in your head. Spending 3 to 5 minutes writing down what's on your mind, whether that's tomorrow's tasks or something bothering you, has been shown in sleep research to reduce the time it takes to fall asleep. The theory is that externalizing those thoughts, getting them out of your head and onto paper, reduces the mental looping that keeps your brain in problem-solving mode instead of winding down mode. You're not trying to solve anything in this moment. You're just offloading it so your mind doesn't have to hold on to it while you're trying to rest. That's the whole routine. Dim the lights, a few minutes of slow breathing, a few minutes of writing things down, 15 minutes total, maybe less once it becomes habit. Now, what can you realistically expect? I want to be honest with you here, because overselling this would do you a disservice. This isn't going to transform your life in one night. What tends to happen, based on what's actually documented in sleep research, is more gradual. In the first few days, many people notice it's a bit easier to actually fall asleep, less lying there with a racing mind. Over the first couple of weeks, sleep tends to feel a little more continuous, fewer of those middle-of-the-night wake-ups where your brain immediately starts working through tomorrow's problems. Over a longer stretch, several weeks of consistency, people often report feeling more level through the day, less of that afternoon crash, a bit more patience, a little more mental clarity. None of this replaces addressing bigger issues if they're present: ongoing insomnia, sleep apnea, chronic pain, or significant anxiety are things worth bringing to a doctor, not something a wind-down routine alone will fix. But for the everyday version of poor sleep, the kind caused by a nervous system that never gets the signal to relax, this routine addresses something real and addresses it in a way that's actually grounded in how your body works. A few things that will make this stick, because I've seen where people tend to drop routines like this. First, do it at roughly the same time every night. Your body responds to rhythm, and an inconsistent bedtime undercuts a lot of the benefit. Second, don't treat this as optional on hard days. Ironically, the nights you're most wired and stressed are exactly when this routine matters most, and exactly when people are most likely to skip it. Third, give it real time before judging whether it's working. A single night of slow breathing isn't going to undo years of a nervous system running hot. 2 to 3 weeks of consistency is a much fairer test. If there's one thing I'd want you to take from this, it's that better sleep usually isn't about finding some rare trick. It's about giving your body a clear, repeated signal that it's safe to power down, night after night, until that becomes the default instead of the exception. Your nervous system isn't broken. It's just been running without an off switch for a long time. This is one simple way to hand it one.